I'm 28M. The sole breadwinner in our house and my wife, 32F, of 2 years as a stay-at-home cat parent, and we're struggling. She's had plantar fasciitis and PCOS since she was young, but nowhere near as bad as recent years. Today she can barely stand for an hour before feeling extreme pain. We've tried every remedy to no avail, and no surgery can help. It's made it basically impossible for her to do traditional paid work, on top of not having her license or a degree. Manual and retail are right out, and the few places that did hire her and try to accommodate her quickly replaced her, leading her to decide on being purely stay-at-home. I also make too much for our household income for her to qualify for disability. I work full-time, but it's still not enough with our expenses. I usually go out door dashing to make up the difference, and that's if it's not preceded by a squabble over how little time I'm spending with her or how tired I am. She pushes me to take nights off when we need the money and when I know there's lucrative bonuses to be had. I work 9-hour shifts starting at 6:45 a.m., but she often keeps me up until 1 a.m. Because our preferred sleep schedules are so different, and a point of contention when I even allude to it. It's all had noticeable impacts on my health and sanity. I'm often left too tired to do any cleaning around the house, which, with 5 cats regularly climbing on everything and making a mess, is often difficult, compounded by a bunch of elaborate decorations she's made or bought that just feel like more moving parts to worry about. Any attempt to talk about it just makes things worse between us, since we've developed different ideas of how to do things and what our respective dream homes look like. I've always been more minimalist. She put me in charge of the finances due to stress, and I'm overwhelmed trying to make sure we have enough in the account. She frequently buys things for the house that we don't particularly need, and insists on dining out when we already have plenty of stuff to cook, and tends to order out every other day. I've lost so many uncooked chicken breasts to this, which eats away at our savings. Meanwhile, I deliberately go out of my way to avoid spending anything on myself. Despite her telling me to eat, I skip lunch every other day just to save a buck. I consistently tell her not to buy me gifts or throw me parties on occasions like my birthday, which I imagine makes me look like a stick in the mud. I even opted out of my workplace's group health insurance just because it would have taken too much out of my check. TLDR. My wife can't work due to her disability unexpectedly getting worse and basically permanent, which ends up indirectly fueling a lot of conflict between us because I'm burning myself out trying to keep us afloat, especially financially. I'm starting to wonder if this is even sustainable anymore. I honestly don't know what the best course of action here would be. Any input is welcome. If she insists on going out to eat, tell her no. Dining out is a luxury you cannot afford on your salary alone. If she continues to spend on items for the house that are unnecessary, then it may be time to no longer use credit cards. It sounds like she may not be able to or willing to comprehend the situation you find yourselves in. Do you have any close friends or family who could perhaps talk with her about this? How does she get to a restaurant if she can't walk or sit? She sounds like the perfect candidate for a call center job. No walking necessary, just talking and sitting. Also, no more eating out. You need to sit this woman down with the household budget and talk through the pressure points. She needs to know where the house stands exactly. I also found it baffling that some couples just give this whole responsibility to one person. You guys need to communicate about this stuff. That's the funny, sad part. She did have a call center job before. The pressure, stress was too much for her, coupled with her mother being an absolute nuisance to her outside of work contributing to said stress, and she left after a couple of weeks. This was during late 2020, which in fairness wasn't good for anyone's mental health, after we married. From another chronically ill person, this is not okay. It sounds to me that a desk job would accommodate all these issues you bring up. She just gave up on working is what it looks like. Even if she couldn't do regular work on a regular basis, there are internet gigs where you can do things like type out captions, subtitles, and they don't pay much, but it seems like a couple extra $100 a month would be big here. It definitely seems like these are excuses. I have PCOS and work full-time. I have not met anyone with PCOS that cannot work. I was looking for this to comment on too. I have plantar fasciitis and PCOS and I work full-time in a part-time WFH job. I work in the medical field. You know what I do? I got some shoe insoles for it and I seen my doctor for the PCOS. The pain is gone and I'm doing much better. I feel she's either having other issues or she's just playing you. She's taking advantage of you. Get your sleep and sleep in a separate room if you have to. Also, she can get a remote job. And her frivolous spending is disrespectful, honestly. This sucks. If she isn't able to contribute to the household other than draining the bank account, something needs to change. You're burning out and skipping meals while she is wastefully refusing to eat food in the fridge and ordering in. No matter how difficult, something has to give. Try another doctor. BC nothing here sounds so debilitating that she can't take a desk job with formal accommodation, which will protect her from firing. Changes to the financial situation is also in order. Because she hasn't proven fiscal responsibility, give her an allowance that she can spend on crafts or home goods. But make sure the household expenses come first. As she proves responsibility, let her earn more financial control. It's too bad if she disagrees, she's not being a good teammate or partner. Plantar fasciitis is incredibly treatable. I'm very confused by this sight around and act like your feet were cut off business. I've had PF and it was painful AF, but I went to my drive, then the podiatrist and to physical therapy. It went away and has never returned. I'm a very empathetic person and I get life isn't always easy. But sometimes you have to do what's right for yourself. Sounds like you're burning out. That's not good. You have a big decision to make. This sounds less like a disabled person unable to work and more like someone who found a meal ticket, free ride. I'm not discounting her disability, but why not a WFH job? Why the reckless spending and keeping you up at night? Why no driver's license or doing really anything to better herself and her current situation? Sounds like she just wants you to provide and still give her all the attention she wants. Greater than I'm not discounting her disability, but why not a WFH job? Because she has no interest or desire to work and OP will work himself to death so she can order out every other day. OP needs to grow a spine and start talking with a divorce lawyer. Honestly, I hate to say this because I know everyone is different and PCOS affects everyone differently, but are her PCOS and plantar fasciitis actual disabilities? I have both and a few other issues. I'm currently a SOM, but if my husband said he was getting stressed and our finances weren't looking good, I'd have the ability to get a job somewhere, somehow. And I wouldn't need accommodations to do so. I would absolutely never consider myself disabled and no one I know who has PCOS or plantar fasciitis would, either. Are you sure there isn't some other condition or perhaps underlying depression causing some issues? Oh, and if her PCOS is that bad, she should probably lay off the takeout. Diet plays a big role in how you feel. I can't imagine she's ordering from super healthy places. Regardless of your answers to any of the above, I'd suggest couples counseling. You're only 28. Are you going to be able to keep this up? You're going to stress yourself into an early grave when there has to be something she could do to help out with the finances. Can she get a job from home? And my best friend's sister was in a horrible car accident. Left her paralyzed from waist down for 3 years and in her right arm. And has brain damage. She can walk a little with a cane and walk slow. She cleans the house and cooks breakfast all the time with one working arm, hand. I think your wife can manage. There's basically nothing for her skill set and education, just high school, out there. Not that we've found anyway. She's 32 without a driver's license and no college degree. Before you guys got married 2 years ago, what was she doing with her life? What was her plan if you hadn't come along? She was planning to find a husband that can work himself to death so she eat takeout every other day and not have to work. It took 2 years of dedication but mission accomplished. It sounds like these are psychological issues. She may or may not be able to work, but she is definitely able to stop spending too much. She is definitely able to stop ordering meals. She is definitely able to stop cluttering your house with crap. You are entitled to rehome several. All of the cats if she can't clean up after them. She is definitely able to respect your desperate need for sleep. She is definitely able to demonstrate some compassion, understanding, and helpfulness. You can't continue like this. You shouldn't continue like this. Establish some limits. If she can't make your life easier, she can have a life without you. And then she'll qualify for disability. I agree, the real issues here are psychological. Is your wife obese? I ask because plantar fasciitis and PCOS can be made worse by obesity. I understand that there's different severity levels, but I'm not convinced that someone with plantar fasciitis and PCOS cannot work a remote call center job. Yeah, this makes no sense. None of her issues make it so she can't work. She just doesn't want to work. My dude. I have PCOS and plantar fasciitis, and guess what? I work 2 jobs. I got them both managed by seeing my doctors, and I suggest she does the same. She's playing you. Greater than the few places that did hire her and try to accommodate her quickly replaced her. This right here tells me that the problem is her, and not her ailments. She doesn't want to work and/or has a bad attitude. There is nothing stopping her from self-educating with YouTube tutorials on how to provide admin support or getting a WFH job with a call center providing customer service. She's not a partner, because she's not only not pulling her own weight, she's loading more weight onto your shoulders. She's manipulating you with sleep deprivation and conflict, so you're too busy working, coping, to have the energy to rock the boat. She's opted out of adulting by dumping the finances on you, so cut off, drastically limit her discretionary spending, and rehome most, all of the cats that she can't take care of and you can't afford. It's absurd that you deny yourself food, health insurance while she thinks it's appropriate to buy decorations, or to eat out and waste paid for food at home. You may also wish to consult with a lawyer to educate yourself on the spousal support you would need to provide if you divorce her. The longer you stay with her, the longer you will have to pay for her. When you say you've tried every remedy, have you seen a podiatrist and tried steroid injections? Custom fabricated orthotics? If your wife legitimately can't remedy the plantar fasciitis and this legitimately seems her completely unable to work, she needs to apply for disability. She will very likely be denied it, but if she is not able to at least make that effort, I would be suspicious that you are being played. Some couples with this income situation have divorced in order to qualify for disability. Sit down with her, like an adult, and go over the finances. She needs to know how much money there is, how much is coming in, and you both need to agree on how to spend the money you do have. And #X200B. Also, is there any work she can do independently? Can she not drive DoorDash? She's working on getting her license at least. But we only have one car that's already been through the ringer. PCOS and plantar fasciitis are not disabilities though? As a person with both of those things, both of those diagnoses are treatable, and I think you're being taken for a ride, op. It's going to get so much worse, op. Commiserations. You're not on the same page, op. You're working every hour of the day and she is ordering out multiple times a week and buying crap she doesn't need for the house. Which means that you are paying for her indulgences. You have control of the finances, but what's the point if she's still allowed to waste so much money? My friend, this statement, greater than she put me in charge of the finances, is negated by this statement, greater than she frequently buys things for the house that we don't particularly need, and insists on dining out when we already have plenty of stuff to cook, and tends to order out every other day. If you were in charge of the finances, then you get control over financial decisions like how much will be spent on stuff for the house and dining out. If you say that budget is zero and she doesn't stick to it, then how are you in charge of the finances? Also this, greater than I'm often left too tired to do any cleaning around the house. If she is a stay-at-home cat mom and you are the only one working to financially support the household, why is the house not clean? Because she has plantar fasciitis? I've got that shit and that's no excuse. What does she actually do to support the household? Honestly, if she's spending too much and your income is the only one, I think it's okay to give her an allowance to buy whatever she wants for the month and keep your account separate. When I was in a similar situation as your wife, that's how we worked things out. It might help her budget better too. 5 cats also sound really unmanageable for your situation. I know rehoming pets is really sad, but maybe keep 2 and rehome the others? Do you have support groups around, like for people with disabilities, chronic illness, and for carers? I think you might both be quite miserable and isolated. It sounds like she's not coping well and clinging to the few things she can still have, and you're understandably very burned out. It would give her an outlet and maybe also help her get a grip and understand how to adjust without putting too much weight on you.